Well, hello there, and welcome back to Let's Talk with Shay Duprís, the place for real, raw, and relevant conversations. Conversations that I hope bring you joy, hope, peace, and deliverance to your soul. I'm your host, Shay Duprís. So, listen, the last 2 to 3 episodes, we have been discussing sin, unrepented sin, and things of that sort. And for my audience, you're probably wondering, like, why is she on this vein? Listen, let me help you understand something. I pray about everything and everybody. And because I want to do the will of the Lord and I want to do it the right way, I always ask the Lord, what do you want me to share with your people? What do you want me to share with people that are currently, walking with you and have a relationship with you? And what do you want me to share with people that have not yet come to you as their Lord and Savior? Because the truth of the matter is that the Lord's will is that nobody perishes. Okay. But the Bible definitely talks about people will reject the faith. They will reject the truth and things of that sort. And unfortunately, there will be people that will, not make it to the heavenly gates. But nevertheless, I wanted to be one of those vessels that at least put the truth out there that is biblically based, not based on my opinion, not based on culture, not based on what's hot and what's not. I don't live my life like that anymore. I do not live my life based off of opinions and culture. I live my life based off of biblical principles. And so, yes, these last several episodes, I have been talking about, different levels of unrepented sin. I've talked about adultery, fornication, and you're probably like, why? Why? Because look around you. Let's just be honest. Everywhere you turn, that's all social media and all people are talking about. People are talking about and promoting, these toxic relationships. People are promoting, cheating on their spouse. People are promoting fornication. People are promoting, deal with several people at one time and stack up bodies. This is the world we live in. This is what people are promoting. But nevertheless, there are people that used to live out in the world because, again, I used to be outside. Okay. So I'm not, thinking I'm better than anyone. I too lived in sin. And like I said, had a great time living and traveling and doing what I do, what have you. But nevertheless, the truth of the matter is that I didn't understand what I was doing, right? I did not think that my choices and what I did didn't have consequences. And so that's why we've been talking about this. I think that there is a deeper cry from people that are struggling in silence, but they want to be free. There are people that don't understand why they cannot get ahead in life. Why is it that every time they take one step forward, they take 2 steps backwards? It is probably because you have opened doors to sin, whether that is generational sin that runs in your family, because we all have a family, we all have a family lineage, or it could be because of your own choices of opening the door to sin that is strictly forbidden. And again, I can speak to it, been there, done that. Okay. So no judgment. I come from a place of love and compassion. Because like I said, I was good. I was having a good time. Okay. And it wasn't too long ago. Okay. So we're talking, this time last year, I was having a good old time living my life to the fullest and all that. But nevertheless, again, I did not understand what was happening and what I was doing, not only to myself, but to future generations. Right. And so that's what we're going to talk about. So, we're going to continue the conversation. Okay. And so again, it may be tough for you to hear, but know that, I'm coming from a place of love and compassion. And again, my message isn't for everyone. So again, if I'm not the person that you support or agree with, I encourage you to move on. And like I said, go find another podcast that align with your beliefs and your lifestyle. But for those out there that are struggling secretly and they love the Lord and they want to live for the Lord, but they're struggling secretly, then these last episodes is definitely for you, my friend. So how do you know if you're struggling with lust and perversion? We're going to talk about that. How do you know if you're struggling with lust and perversion? Today's episode is lust and perversion. What you ignore will expose you. Okay. I just got to give it to you straight. What you ignore will eventually expose you. And I have biblical principles to back that up. But how do you know if you are struggling with lust and perversion or adultery? How do you know if someone around you is struggling with lust, perversion, or adultery? How does these things creep into your lives and bind you when you least expect it? Before I go any further, got to give you my disclaimer as always. Let me make myself crystal clear. When I speak about lust and fornication and perversion, I am not referring to anyone that has been the victim of SA or children that has been victimized and taken advantage of by, sick, twisted, demonic people out there. I am not referring to you. Okay. I'm strictly referring to adults that, just trying to figure out why they're still privately struggling with something, or maybe you're in fornication, or you're in lust, or maybe you're in adultery and you want to come out of it. So those are the people that I'm speaking to. Just know that if you are a survivor of SA, or you as a child may have went through this, or a child that is going through this, I am not referring to them. But if you did experience it, understand this, it's not your fault and you are not to blame. So that's my disclaimer. But let's jump into this. Here is the ugly truth, right? Even though a lot of what some of us have went through, we're not responsible for what happened to us in our childhood and things of that sort, but you are responsible as a grown adult, right? You are responsible for what happens next. So whether you're responsible for, what went on in your household, you wouldn't, none of us got to choose our parents, our family members. We didn't get to pick and choose what happened to us if we were children and things were toxic and grew up in a dysfunctional household or a dysfunctional family lineage. You didn't get to pick and choose all of that, right? A lot of us were born into that, right? You're not responsible for those things, but what you are responsible for is whether or not you choose to get healed, get delivered, and break the generational curses that's on your bloodline. Okay? Hear me when I say it is up to you to decide if you want to break the curses on your family bloodline, break the curses in your own life so that your children will not have to reap the decisions that you and I and other people have made. So let's dive into that. And again, I'm going to give you biblical principles to back up everything that I'm saying. Understand this. This episode is not about fear or condemnation. Okay. Again, those that support and those that know me and those that have listened to me over the past several months and even follow me on some of the social media platforms where I kind of talk about the goodness of the Lord. I come from a place of love and accountability and truth. And why is that? Because those that I supported and those that were in my circle and in my camp when I was living my life to the fullest and outside, how I got free is because of love, truth, and accountability. I didn't get free. I didn't get set free because people lied and tried to cover and agree with the sin that I was living in. It's because I had people and things that I decided that I wanted to kind of level up. And I had people that held me accountable, and that is just what it is. And so I love truth tellers. And that's why I can respect people that are honest and truthful, even if the truth doesn't help or benefit me. I love people that tell truth. I do not like liars. I do not like people that are full of drama. I do not like people that try to cover. I do not like people that, gravel in people's fall or people's demise. I don't like pettiness. None of that. I didn't like it when I, worked in corporate America and dealt with those things in the workplace. That's why I was always one to like, hey, listen, it's a time and place for that. Not in the workplace. We're paying you to do a job. I didn't tolerate it then. I definitely didn't tolerate it in my personal life. And even more so living for the Lord, that's how God has made me. I'm just an honest truth teller, but I come from a place of love and accountability. Because when we look at the culture and society, we know that social media will celebrate adultery, they celebrate fornication, they celebrate lust, but they never tell you the damage that it causes to your soul, your bloodline, and what happens to you eternity. So when I share this going forward, I do not share any of what we're about to talk about from a place of judgment, but from love and experience. As I said to you a few years ago, I thought that I was living my life. It was harmless, partying, drinking, living in fornication, but I did not realize that my choices weren't just affecting me. I was literally planting seeds of destruction that would carry into my future and even future generations to come in my bloodline. What I did not understand is what felt like fun, because I, lived my life on my own terms. I did what I wanted to do, how I wanted to do it. I didn't have to ask anyone for anything. I made my way through, college successfully. I earned the accolades. I earned all of that. I earned the income and was doing extremely well. And yet and still, what I did not understand is that I was living a very good life, but it had consequences that echoed spiritually and eternally. What I did not understand is that at the end of the day, everything has a season. Okay. And I did not understand that my choices as a daughter, a cousin, a friend, what have you, that my choices would carry on in blood lineage as far as generational curses, because that's a real thing. So let's go ahead and get some biblical principles before I kind of go in and dissect this thing and kind of keep it moving for you. Understand this in Exodus 25, chapter 20, verse 5, King James Version. It talks about that visiting the iniquities of the fathers upon the children unto the third and fourth generation. Okay, this is our biblical principle of what I'm about to talk about today. Exodus chapter 20, chapter 5, read it for yourself. Visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children unto the third and fourth generation. So what am I saying in layman terms? What is the Bible saying in layman terms? That your choices, my choices, and everyone's choices will carry, if it's iniquity of sin, it will carry on to the third and fourth generation. So let's look at this and dissect this just a little bit, because I love giving you basic understanding. If you look at your mother or your father or your uncles and your brothers and you see iniquity is sin. Okay. That's what it is. Okay. It is a deeper level of sin, unrepented sin. If you see the family lineage, maybe it's poverty, death, destruction. It could be drugs. It could be any and everything. And you're like, man, why is the family struggling? Because somewhere down the line, individuals like you and I planted seeds and it caught up to the third and fourth generation. Now what you're seeing is a curse of poverty, a curse of death, a curse of cancer, a curse of infirmity, a curse of, mental illness, a curse of this, a curse of abuse, a curse of torment, a curse of incest, a curse of rape, a curse of being broken and disgusted. All the men can't get jobs. All the women can't get married. A spirit of anti-marriage, a spirit of homosexuality, a spirit of lust and perversion. All the men is out here stacking up bodies through the generation. All the women are Jezebels and controlling and manipulative. That is what we refer to, that when you look at your bloodline and my bloodline, the stuff did not happen because of happenstance. Again, as Christian believers, we don't believe in happenstance. What we have to understand is that there says in the Bible that whatever a man soweth, that shall he reap, right? And so it talks about in Exodus 20, chapter 5, that iniquity of the blood lineage and fathers upon the children will follow third and fourth generations. So really, honestly, look at yourself under the sound of my voice. Look at your mom's mom. Look at your family. Look at your aunts, your uncles, your cousins. If you have generational curses where people are not successful and the success is not sustainable, meaning, okay, one day they're rich and the next day they're poor. 1 minute they're married and the next minute they're divorced. Listen, there is hidden sin, unrepented sin that has not been denounced, rebuked, and canceled and drawn out through prayer and fasting as to why you see a certain family that is just broken and disgusted. Now, let me help you. Just as much as there is a family of generational curses, there are some families that have generational blessings. Yes, it's a real thing. There are very few families, but there are families with generational blessings where everyone, male, female, child, dog, what have you, are successful. There's no curses. It's because the generations before those individuals planted seeds and they did things